Hello there. Listen, I wanted to share with you something that I've been playing with over the past few weeks. I've actually been doing this for a few years on and off, but recently I've been paying a lot more attention to it, and I want to share it with you because it's a really powerful way to get to know yourself better and to kind of massage your ego to calm down, right? Just like you might massage a muscle when it gets all tense and worked up. Inside your own personality, there are parts of you that are worked up about all kinds of things. And as you know, if you follow me, if you practice the Caldicott Method, you know that the part of your personality has a part of in the body that is associated with it. So for instance, your elbow might be related to the part of your personality that's afraid of letting stuff go, because as a baby, your elbow was involved in holding on to stuff. So if there's inner child trauma related to losing something that you love, then that elbow is probably going to be involved, right? But there's a lot more to it than just the physical body, because almost every aspect of being really has your personality embedded within it somehow. And depending on how deep you go spiritually, you can see the whole universe, the whole world that you're surrounded by. Every item, every object, every entity within that world is a reflection of your inner being. And so if that reflection is negative, if it's warlike, if it's horrific even, then you are being exposed to that shadow within you that is manifested in the external world. But again, that's a little bit too deep for this for this video. What I want to talk about is your eyeballs. I want to talk about your eyeballs and the sense of vision that we have. And particularly, I want to talk about the difference in your experience of being, depending on where your eyeballs are positioned. And that's what the practice that I've been experimenting with, that is a part of the Caldicott Method informally at the more advanced stages, but I wanted to share it with you as an entry-level thing that you can start doing straight away to help you relax and to help you integrate yourself more, and to be chill and to be more powerful and to be more present. So here's how it works, right? This concept behind it is that where I'm looking, I'm not just looking at what's in front of me, what's here in this moment. Because parts of my brain, parts of my body, parts of my conscious experience are attempting to draw patterns, attempting to make sense of what I'm looking at, comparing it to what I've seen before. So if I'm looking at a tree, there are parts of my brain that are associated with tree that activate. There's also parts of my body that are associated with tree that activate. So if I climbed a lot of trees as a kid, when I look at a tree, my muscles might get excited a little bit, like, oh yeah, I'm going to climb it, right? Those associations are what this method is about, what this concept is about. So you've got associations with the objects that you look at. And one thing we can do in meditation is we can look at an object and explore how much it triggers us and teach ourselves to be calm at every level of looking at that object. Now, something like a shoe, right? I might look at this shoe, and if I look at it for 10 seconds, I'm all right. But if I look at it for a little longer, then I start worrying about some old thing in my head, right? And I get distracted. So the meditation practice is to just focus on it and stay calm through it and observe yourself and observe the different thoughts and triggers that come up. This is very similar, except that rather than looking at a single object, what we're doing is we're looking around our field of vision. And the concept behind it is that, let's say that a big trauma happened to you when you were a kid, right? When I was 6 years old, if you know my story, when I was 6 years old, a classmate at school killed a mouse in front of me, and it messed me up. It made me very fearful. It gave me a lot of trust issues, and it just caused a lot of chaos for me, right? But let's take a trauma like that. You may have had something similar happen. You may have had something worse happen. You may have had something that maybe doesn't objectively seem as bad as a kid killing a mouse in front of you, but emotionally, there's no difference. Like, you had your own problems, you had your own traumas. No one is more important or powerful or intense than the other. So pick a trauma, from your life, from your early life, an emotional trauma, when that happened, your eyeballs were looking at a particular place when that happened. Maybe it was to the right. Maybe it was downwards. Maybe it was upwards. Maybe it was straight ahead. And the point of this technique that I'm going to teach you today is that if you were looking downwards when that trauma happened, then when you look downwards, some part of you is going to get triggered because it remembers that when you looked downwards, that thing was happening, that trauma was happening. So just like as with every other part of the Caldicott Method, the goal is to find and map out within yourself the parts of you that are holding on to negative experience, negative energy, negative emotion, negative thought that has come from previous traumatic experiences that are now being called up into the present moment because of a similarity in the context. And that context may be the person that you're talking to, it may be the situation you're in, or it may be the thought that came just a moment ago that generally leads to the next thought of negativity, right? So I may have gone on a little bit too much about the philosophy behind it, but I wanted to make this usable to a newbie who doesn't follow me and is new to all of this stuff. But here's how it looks, right? You want to take a couple of minutes and you just want to explore your eye line. You want to go and you want to try and keep your head still. And I like to go in like a zigzag, as if I'm going down a windy road. And as you do it, you focus on calming your breath. Now you notice that when I got here, I remembered that I needed to breathe. And my gaze kind of stuck there. So when that kind of thing happens, let it. And I'm noticing that there's a twitch that suddenly came in my arm right here. So that's interesting. But you don't think too much about it, right? So you then just keep going. And ideally, you're doing this exercise in quiet at home. You know, I'm recording a video right now, so it's a little bit different to how you'll be doing it. And what you're looking for is those negative experiences, those emotional spikes, those sudden panics, those sudden thoughts of, oh God, there's something I haven't done. Or, oh God, they're going to think this about me. Oh God. You're looking for all of those because this is the whole point of the practice, is that you are safe right now. You're in this moment. You're good. No one's coming for you. No one's trying to take your things. No one's accusing you of anything. No one's attacking you. You're safe, right? So if your brain, if your mind is going to negative places when you're in a place like this, then you know 100% that it's coming from the past. It's coming from some memoried experience. So what we want to do is we want to associate that position in the gaze with that distracting thought. And that's what this technique is all about. So take a few minutes after watching this video and just let your eyes move around. Don't pay much attention to what it is they're looking at, but pay attention to the sensation of looking in that direction, looking relative to your straight ahead, relative to the position of your head and your posture. What does it feel like to look there? What does it feel like to look here? And then things can get really interesting because then you can sit at your desk or you can sit in your living room and do the exercise and look around. And it's pretty cool that you will notice that the areas of mess are roughly in the same area that you've noticed, you've associated that there's a little bit of negativity that you've got to work through that's positioned at that place. And you're going to realize, oh, that's why there's mess there. Now, if you live in a house that's very messy all over, then that tells you a little bit about how you need to do some work, right? But most of us will have a relatively neat house with pockets, little areas, little shadow areas. And it's literally like the place where you sit in that room and how you experience that room. Those shadows are going to be in the literal same place as the shadow when you're looking in that place, wherever you are. And then it can get also cool because then you can look at your Mac desktop, your computer desktop, and the same thing happens. The same thing happens. The areas of the screen that are in that same area are going to be a little bit more messy. And so if you put a file there and you're trying to work with something in that space, it's going to be a lot harder than if you put it in another space. And that's a cool thought too. So all right, that's my message for today. I hope that's useful. We're about to launch in September. We're launching the Practitioner's Circle for the Caldicott Method. I'm going to be posting a lot about it. I'm going to be talking a lot about it. If you haven't done our foundations course yet, then reach out to me on Facebook or Instagram and let me know. I'll tell you about what the course is, how it works. We go into a lot of depth about what all this stuff is and teach you the mindsets behind it. And, you know, if you join the Practitioner's Circle during the month of September, then we'll give you the foundations course for free included with it. And that's worth about $400 on its own. So do make sure to take action. Do make sure to follow and pay attention to what's going on. We're going to be posting a lot of stuff over the next few weeks. So I look forward to seeing you there. All right. Peace and love. Take care of yourself. Take care of your family. Much love. Bye-bye.